Welcome to On the Vineyard, a 10-minute weekly wrap-up of news from the Vineyard Gazette Media Group on Martha's Vineyard. I'm publisher Monica Brady-Meyerov. We're so glad you're here. On the Vineyard is sponsored by Martha's Vineyard Bank. The hazy orange skies have tinted the beach vacations of many visitors this week. Canadian wildfires are to blame, but I hope this blows over soon. What seems to be here to stay are ticks, but there are some new ideas about combating them.
Chappie is kind of the perfect storm. It's one of the first places where ticks, especially the Lone Stars, first started appearing on the vineyard. It's an island off of an island, so a very contained area and a very large amount of deer.
The second annual Vineyard Forum was a huge success. Put on by the Vineyard Gazette and Mass Live, 3 panels examined power through the lens of energy, media, and politics. On the energy panel, participants discussed everything from AI creating a growth in demand, fears around battery storage, and what states are building data storage. And it's not Massachusetts, according to State Senator Barry Feingold.
I think the reality for Massachusetts is that there's 3,000 data centers across the United States. We have 42. We're just not in that game. We're just not attractive enough because of basically our high prices here.
Feingold says that's okay with him because he believes data centers will shrink over time. On the media panel, Nancy Gibbs of the Shorenstein Center said the problem with media now is that everyone has their own bespoke information feeds, so it makes it hard to agree on the facts. The panelists did agree that the model for funding quality journalism is fractured. A new approach comes from Hunter Brook Media, which has a team of investigative journalists doing deep dives on business stories. The fund uses the reporting to make investments, investing in good companies and betting against bad companies, and bringing litigation when warranted. It's an unusual model. CEO and founder Nathaniel Brooks Horowitz, who is island-born and raised, defended the approach.
The core premise is that for decades, in addition to the societal value of investigative journalism, there's been an enormous amount of economic value created by that work. But it's been captured by Wall Street. It's been captured by plaintiff-side law firms that file cases based on ProPublica investigations, make a ton of money for their plaintiffs and for themselves and their firms, but not for the news organizations that actually did that investigative work.
The final panel looked at politics in a conversation between former moderator of Meet the Press, Chuck Todd, and U.S. Democratic Representative from Maryland, Jamie Raskin, who's also a constitutional scholar.
Nothing is more common than to hear somebody get up on the floor and say, we have 3 co-equal branches, and then move on to their point. Okay, first of all, co-equal is not even a word, okay? That's my first problem. That's like extremely unique or something like that. That's not a word. Equal was just fine, all right? So let's take the proposition we've got 3 equal branches. Really? 3 equal branches? Have you read the Constitution?
Congressman Raskin and Chuck Todd agreed that the most broken part of government right now is Congress. That's the sound of the historic press in the Vineyard Gazette offices in Edgartown printing the paper. That means it's time to go upstairs to the newsroom and check in with Bill Evell and the reporters on this week's news.
Well, it seems this summer the main thing everybody is talking about is ticks. Often when a guest arrives, the first question they ask is, how much should I worry about ticks? The answer is, you should definitely be aware and take care. But researchers are looking to turn Chappie into a living laboratory to try to get to some solutions. Ethan Genter is here with the story. Ethan?
Hey there, Bill. Yeah, there's a consortium of scientists throughout New England who are looking at Chappie as a testing ground for new methods on how to medicate deer, the main food source for ticks.
Yeah, it seems like first we're an island, and then Chappie's a smaller island, so you really have a boundaried area where you can look at this stuff, right?
Yeah, and Chappie is kind of the perfect storm. Several people I talked to this week had said it's one of the first places where ticks, especially the Lone Stars, first started appearing on the vineyard. You talk to people out there, and they say, just going to my mailbox results in me getting a tick on me. It's like you said, it's an island off of an island, so a very contained area and a very large amount of deer. And the other thing a lot of people said was the community out there is very enthusiastic about partaking in this new research that's going to be done, and it's a really exciting time for everyone over there.
Yeah, I mean, suddenly everybody feels sort of like what can I do? What can I do? And now it's going to create a ton of citizen scientists. So what exactly are they going to do?
Yeah, so what they're doing is UMass and several other universities around the area are hoping to try different medications for deer that would make them resistant to ticks. Think of the things we give our cats and our dogs. So these are things, both oral baits they want to give them, as well as topical treatments for deer. And the idea is you make the deer resistant to ticks. That cuts off the main food source for ticks and really drops the number of ticks. This is something that has been tried in other places. UMass is currently doing some studies on their captive herd that they have on campus. It's nothing we've kind of seen on a living laboratory like that, and it will be hopefully the model this could translate to the rest of the region, the country, as everyone deals with these ticks.
Do they have a time frame on this?
So the tests are going on at UMass right now to kind of figure out the efficacy of the different drugs that they're looking at potentially using. The exact details of all this research really still needs to be hashed out, and permitting would have to be done. But the scientists I talked to this week said they hope to start doing some of the initial medications next spring.
All right. Thanks, Ethan.
Thank you, Bill.
Sticking with ticks, well, one of the, if you could call it, a bright side of it is lots of officials on the island. We are now experts on ticks and tick-borne diseases, and two of these officials recently went to a conference in North Carolina to share what they have learned here on the Vineyard. Emma Kilbride talked to the officials. Emma, what was the conference about and what was happening down there?
Thanks, Bill. So, two of our island's own, including Leah Hamner, who's a tick epidemiologist, and Aubrey Stamola-Ryan, who is a physician's assistant and has a tick clinic that she's forming soon. They went to this conference to learn about what other public health officials and epidemiologists and entomologists around the country are doing about alpha-gal, and Leah Hamner even presented on what it's been like here on the Vineyard.
Yeah, that does seem like to be the big thing this summer. We've always had our tick problem, like, oh yeah, it's bad over there, it's bad over there, but people are really starting to talk to each other from different areas to try to get to some, whether it's a solution or at least sharing what people are doing. That's an exciting movement this summer, it seems.
Yeah, they are. In fact, at the end of the conference, I was told that all of the officials who were there, all the experts, got together and came up with a few action items moving forward with alpha-gal, for example, making labeling on food and medications more robust and increasing reportability across different states in the U.S.
So sharing information between the states on how many alpha-gal cases are, that sort of thing?
Yeah, the idea is that the more information we have from states all over the country, the better we have an idea of how this syndrome is affecting people and affecting different populations.
Yeah, for listeners who are just catching up this summer, Lyme disease has been around a long time, but alpha-gal is really new and just keeps skyrocketing. The cases all over here, the island, and evidently elsewhere.
Yeah, alpha-gal was first discovered and diagnosed in 2009, so it's still a very new thing, and it's certainly soaring to new heights here on the island. So everybody is putting their heads together, and it seems that the Vineyard is not alone in this because other communities are dealing with it.
All right. Thanks so much, Emma, and we will continue to follow this story.
You can read more on these stories and all the news for free at vineyardgazette.com and follow us on Instagram. This weekend, Featherstone Center for the Arts celebrates 30 years with a gala. They've been doing a variety of special exhibits for their anniversary, and I'm sure this gala will be fun. The Flying Horses, America's oldest carousel, is celebrating its 150th birthday. The Vineyard Preservation Trust is putting on a party that will wind through Oak Bluffs and have various activities and even a birthday cake at Union Chapel. The carousel was built by Charles Dare of New York Carousel Manufacturing in 1876. It's one of only 2 Dare carousels that still exist. Originally operated as an attraction on Coney Island, it was moved to Oak Bluffs in 1884. Dan Hastings' family owned the Flying Horses in the 1970s. Here he remembers what it was like in the 50s.
1950 is when we acquired the Flying Horses. The carousel has always been for the children. It's always a wonderful thing for the kids, their rite of passage to be able to get on the horses and reach for the ring and try to catch that brass ring to get that free ride. That's always the way it has been. It's still that way today. That's one of the things that will never change.
Thank you to India Whitcomb of the Martha's Vineyard Museum for this archival audio. Our theme music is from island composer and musician Michael Hayden. If you like the show, please follow us so you won't miss an episode, and tell a friend who loves the vineyard. Thanks to our sponsor, Martha's Vineyard Bank, a community bank whose employees live and work locally, providing personalized guidance and committed to understanding the needs of the community. Learn more at mvbank.com. I'm Monica Brady-Myroff. Thanks for joining us on The Vineyard. Talk to you next week.